I feel like this is a very long overdue video, but I am about to fully expose myself. Not like, woo. Hello my friends, I hope you're all good. So yes, in today's video, I'm about to fully expose myself and tell you guys everything that I have ever had done to my face, to my body, what treatments I've had done, lasers, hair removal, tattooing, facial stuff, all of it. And I wrote everything down. And honestly, I don't want to know how much money I've spent over the years, but also I feel like I should be a lot better looking for the amount of things I've had done. Like, it's a lot. Some of you guys that have been around for a while will have known my many faces before this one. Like, I'm not even kidding. I literally have probably had about 5 different faces over the last 10 years. Some people cycle through aesthetics. I cycle through entirely different, like, avatars, basically. But yeah, I am about to fully expose myself. And I mean, I've never been secretive about anything over the years. Like, I've always spoken about things that I've had done. But I think when you put it all out there in one go, and I'm going to be showing, like, before and afters and stuff, it is a very vulnerable thing to kind of do, I guess. So please try and refrain from judging too much. I also know it is a bit insane. I just think these videos are interesting, but also I think it's good to know that, like, I wasn't born looking like this. I got, like, my eyes aren't even this color. If you're new here, I'm really sorry if that creeped you out. Like, my eyes aren't this color. My hair didn't grow this color. These tattoos did not just magically appear on my body. We do all these things, like, you know, that people don't really question too much, like makeup and everything like that. But then when it comes to, like, fillers, Botox, surgery, procedures, then people go, ooh, that's too far. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think do whatever you want to do with your body. That's the little ramble done. Whatever you want to do or don't want to do, as long as you're doing it safe, cool. So hopefully you guys can have a little bit of, like, that sort of grace with me. But I am also aware, this is a lot. This is not normal. I am mildly insane. Anyway, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about isn't any sort of injectable or any sort of treatment or anything like that. It's literally something you can do while you're asleep. And yes, this portion of the video is sponsored, but I want to hold my hands up and say, I actually thought this entire thing was a gimmick. I'd heard about this product for maybe like a year or so, and I always thought it was just a gimmick. And then I tried it, and I would fully like to hold my hands up and say that it is not, and it actually does make a massive difference. So the product that I'm talking about is the Sleep and Glow Omnia pillow. So I will insert a few little cutaways of said pillow and of me using said pillow. But the reason why I'm telling you guys about this today is, number one, because they have a 15% discount on at the moment, which they never have. But it also really does make such a difference for your skin in regards to fine lines and puffiness. So normally with a regular pillow, I've got my face fully submerged into a pillow. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this. I used to get it all the time where I would wake up, I would have the best night's sleep ever. However, I would then wake up with a huge line down the side of my face because basically my cheek had been squished and wrinkled, and I'd slept like that for however many hours, and then I'd wake up and it would take hours for it to go. And obviously the way that fine lines work over time is, you know, with like expression lines, the more you use them, the more they're just going to stay there. And that's why people get things like preventative Botox and stuff to literally stop it from happening. So it's the same kind of idea with this. You're not going to get these vertical lines down the side of your face because of the way that the pillow is made. So hopefully you can see in the cutaways, but the way that the pillow is designed is that you have various different grooves that actually cradle your face, like a nice little hug for your face. So no matter which way you're sleeping, your face is going to be very nicely cradled so that you don't get any of those sleep wrinkles. Now, obviously, every so often, you're probably not going to think too much about it, but if you think about the amount of hours you spend asleep with your face all smushed up, that could cause some wrinkles over time. And like I said, I was very, very skeptical, but actually after using this for around a month or so, I haven't had any sleep wrinkles. And also my face, when I've woken up, is so much less puffy. And I guess it's one of those things that, I mean, obviously we spend so much time asleep. We spend so much time with our face in a pillow. So you may as well get the best version you can possibly get for your skin. And also for your quality of sleep, for your neck, like it does it all. But yeah, like I said, I really did think it was a gimmick, and I would like to confirm that it is not. So if you guys do want to try out something like this, I will leave all the details and all the links and everything down below for you. But yeah, it's just one of those things you can do literally while you're asleep. It's like the laziest beauty treatment in the world, and also totally pain-free. But we are going to talk about a few things that are not pain-free, so let's get into that. Let's get into the juicy stuff. But yeah, click the link down below if you guys do want to check out the Omnia pillow. Because like I say, it's 15% off and they never do that. Whew, we really are doing this, huh? Like, it's weird because I've spoken about the majority of things here. I'm literally pointing at a list right now because yes, I've had to write a list. But I think I've spoken about everything, or like pretty much everything. But I think when I see it all together, and I'm about to tell you guys everything as a collective, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a lot. But like I said, I do not judge people what they do with their bodies. I get it, I'm on the internet, people are going to judge, and also I'm well aware that this is excessive and it's a lot. But hey, I'm being honest about it. There are so many people, I'm not shaming because, you know, they have their own reasons, but there are so many people that sort of basically pretend that they one day woke up and looked like they do, or, you know, they use heavy filters and they do all of these things. And again, I'm not really judging, but then there's almost this weird dichotomy where it's like, okay, if you talk about it and you're honest, people then can say that you're promoting it. There's like a really weird fine line. So I want to get this out of the way to begin with. You, nor I, nor anyone has ever needed any of the things that I'm about to talk to you guys about. I just wouldn't feel comfortable with the knowledge that maybe, I don't know, like a 14-year-old girl or something might be looking up to me. Maybe she wants to be an influencer, or maybe she's like feeling a bit insecure in how she looks, and she looks at my face and thinks, I want to look like Steph, because it still blows my mind, like that I'm even in this position. However, I have to logically remember that I do have over 500,000 people that watch me, so I can't be totally ignorant to the fact that there probably are some people that go, oh, I wish I looked like Steph, or I wish I could do this, or I want Botox, I want filler. I get it. I have been like this, very body dysmorphic, which I will discuss again in a second, since I was so young. And I'm telling you now, person looking into the camera, it's almost making me emotional as if I'm like talking to myself. Person looking into the camera, like watching this video right now, oh my God, I'm getting emotional. I have to Botox my tear ducts to stop them from working. You really don't need any of this. I can assure you, no matter what anyone tells you, media, social media, even what I'm about to talk about, do not be influenced, because you do not need any of this. Don't do it because you feel like you need to, because we've cleared that up. You don't need to do a single thing. You're great. In fact, right now, this might even be the best you've ever looked. Just saying, you're looking pretty good. So yeah, disclaimer done. You don't need this. Listen to what I say, not as I do. I don't need this. I'm mildly insane, but hey, we've known that for a long time. So you've been waiting for this. Let's get into it. Let's start off with Botox. I've had a lot of Botox. I started when I was 25, so still very, very young. But I have been going to Martin Kinsella. Some of you guys will know him from Real Housewives of Cheshire. I knew him like before he was on that show, because I've been going to him for various things since I was, I think, 20. So when I say I'm well versed, I've had 12 years of like, so yeah, I started Botox when I was 25. I started filler and everything before that, but the Botox started when I was 25. And I actually had to, not force him, but like force Martin to give it to me, because I think I went in when I was 23 asking for it, and he was just like flat out, no, like you're being stupid. Go away, silly woman. You ain't getting Botox. Like, sure, we'll give you a little top-ups of filler, but Botox, absolutely not. And I liked that. I hated it at the time. I just wanted my Botox. But I liked that he was like, no, you don't need that, so therefore you're not having it, silly woman, go away. Like, even though he could have taken more of my money, he was like, nope. Basically, I didn't want it for wrinkles because I didn't really have any lines or anything, because obviously I was like 23 years old. However, some of you guys picked up on this, and a lot of you, it's funny, I've had a bunch of like, kind of like big comments over the years and messages being like, you've obviously had this done, why would you lie? And I'm thinking, I could have made content out of that. Like, I haven't lied about anything. But I think I can't even frown now because of my Botox. Years ago, my eyes were a bit more like this. Like, they were a lot more hooded. And I actually, in my videos, and I would get tension headaches from it, I would always lift my eyebrows, like sort of lift them here, to give myself more lid space. I guess just from doing makeup, I just wanted to do that, and I thought I looked better like it. So I get it maybe every 4 months or so. It just kind of depends. I'm not like, you know, super regimented with it, but it's every 4 or 5 months. Usually when I go and see him for something else, I'll be like, cool, like I'll go and get my Botox topped up. But yeah, I started with a bit of a brow lift, and then as time went on, I ended up getting, I actually didn't get my crow's feet done for ages, because I don't really, when I smile like with my mouth and my cheeks as opposed to like my eyes. But I get it like in my forehead, and then also like, I get it like up here, and then also just kind of like here as well. And then my little brow lift. And then every so often, maybe like once a year or so, I will get a little bit of Botox just in my crow's feet here, just to kind of keep it at bay. If I lift my eyebrows, I haven't actually had any Botox, I think it was here for a while, because then if I lift my eyebrows, which I don't do too often, you can see I do have a bit of movement there. But then when it comes to frowning, I've got barely nothing. That's quite literally all I've got. Okay, so moving on to other things. Just kidding, I've had so much more Botox than that. Okay, we can kind of whiz through this a little bit more. I've had Botox in my jaw before, which I actually originally got because I tense my jaw so much. So I get a lot of stress in the top of my shoulders and like the top of my back and my neck. And obviously I used to get the headaches. And basically I've been Botoxing everything out. I've been Botoxing out all the tension. So yeah, I've had Botox in my masseter muscles, literally these muscles here, because when you kind of clench, like you can feel this muscle that sort of sticks out. Mine was like solid, and also it can sometimes make your jaw look a little bit bigger. That wasn't really as much of a problem for me at the time because I was literally getting jaw filler to make my jaw look bigger, but it was more so the tension and the pain, because again then that would sort of like permeate down to my shoulders and I could just feel it, and then I would literally like clench my jaw so much at night that I now have to wear my night guard every single night, because I will still even sometimes try to clench my jaw and I have literally chipped teeth from it. So I do that, and it basically, like, obviously I can still chew, I can still do everything, but it just softens it a little bit. It means that my muscle basically isn't as powerful as it is naturally because I'm working it all the time. One little random thing that again I get done every so often, just sometimes if I feel like I kind of need it, is a little bit of Botox here. I think I had this maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, but like you can see there's a little bit of wrinkling, and I would just get the tiniest bit there. That's usually, to be honest, if we've got some left, and then he's like, do you want that done there? And sometimes I'll say yes, sometimes I'll say no. But I guess it's like obviously the same way with all the other wrinkles. If I was doing this face all the time, I might end up with a few wrinkles on my nose. So again, we don't freeze it completely. I can still like make that face, but it just softens it a little bit. I don't get so much Botox to the point where I can't move my face at all. Obviously the funniest bit is my frown. That's like more frozen than anything else, but like every other part, like I can still like lift my eyebrows and everything. It's just a frown, which is good. I don't want to frown. And in terms of pain, Botox really isn't that bad. Fun fact, I actually hate needles, which is really funny considering all the tattoos, all the filler, all the Botox, all the piercings I have. I hate needles. One of my biggest fears is blood tests, it's so stupid, isn't it? But then, yeah, I've had a lot of needles in a lot of places. So yeah, I'm not great with needles, and Martin, like he can numb you, don't be put off, he can numb you. But for me, like the first time I had it done, I was never numbed with anything, so I'm just kind of like, just used to it. I have been told I do have quite a high pain threshold, but as far as Botox goes, I think it's a general thing across the board. It is probably one of the least painful like injectables you can get done, because it's the tiniest little injection. I would say it's maybe like a 2, like totally manageable. To be honest, it's kind of like a 1.5 if anything, but yeah, like very, very minimal pain. So then actually another place where I've had the most Botox is actually in my chin. My mouth side of things has always been a huge insecurity of mine. I think because I was always so bullied about my teeth, and I've always just had I had a tiny little chin. So we'll talk about that with the whole filler side of things. But that was the main thing that changed how I look, because I had this little teeny tiny chin and just this small little jaw and these big teeth. And in my mind, I always felt like I kind of looked like this. You know, like I literally, you know, like a Simpsons character. I kind of felt like I always looked like that. And so I think I always have this, I like hone in on like whatever my chin's doing at the time. Like even now, I'm probably actually gonna go and get some Botox in my chin in the next few months, because I've had it loads and loads of times, and it does make a difference. Because now I point it out, maybe you guys have noticed it, but also maybe I am just insane. But I have a really like expression-y sort of chin. I see when other people, and I'm so jealous when people have chins that don't really move. Like they don't have like lines in their chin or like dimples like here, whereas down here for me, I feel like there's a lot of like muscles and a lot of things going on. So basically it's quite a normal to get Botox in your chin. I sort of get it, he makes me do this face, and I think he kind of like does it around here, but I haven't had it for a while, but I will most likely go and get it done again over the next few months. Okay, Barbie Botox or trap Botox. I posted a Instagram video about this. I might link it down below. But basically, Martin didn't do this, it was someone else that I went to. And I actually did really like it. It did make a huge difference. But basically, you get Botox injected into this muscle here, which I know sounds insane. So a lot of people do it to kind of like slim this muscle. And I did want that because at the time, again, like I said, all this tension that I've got like here, this was a few years ago, I always felt like my trap muscles looked a lot bigger and I looked a lot more bulky. Again, I'm nuts, I'm well aware. But the main reason why I actually went and did it, because I thought about it, I always think about these things, but I actually have to tell myself to not do it. But for about 3 years, I was getting like a trapped nerve / muscle in my shoulder. It would happen out of nowhere, like for no reason. And I actually haven't had it since, so I don't know what that's about. But it would get to the point where I couldn't even pick things up properly. And so I went to these guys, they were Jessica Rose. I went in Plymouth in Devon. They had like a little pop-up clinic there. And I went and got it done there because not too many people do it. I don't know if it's that much of like a common thing even now. But I never got that pain back ever. Even when I've had like a bit of pain from like maybe sleeping funny or going to the gym, that actual pain that I had before has never come back. And it did make my shoulders a little bit slimmer, which I was happy about. But yeah, it works for that, for an aesthetic reason. But for me, the main reason was, you know, getting rid of that pain and trying to, you know, stop it from going crazy all the time. And it did work. So would I get it done again? I'm sure I would. I don't know if I will, but I would, if that makes sense. So then as far as like salon treatments go, I'm talking like facials and like lash treatments and brow treatments and stuff. I get hydrofacials. I don't get them like routinely, but I probably say I maybe get like 2 or 3 a year. I just like them. I just kind of get them when I look at my skin and think, ooh, okay, we need to suck some stuff out of that. Because it's basically like, it's really good for exfoliating. It's one of those like sucky facials. I never really get anything else done to my skin, to be honest. I think I have so much skincare and like at-home products and devices and stuff that I just use those. But yeah, I get hydrofacials 2 or 3 times a year. As far as like brow and lash treatments go, I've always basically just done my brows myself. I think I've had my brows threaded and waxed maybe like twice in my life, and there was nothing wrong with it. I just prefer to do it myself. I have had my brows laminated twice. The first time it was all quite new. They were up, like she did a great job, but they were pretty intense. And my eyebrows back then as well were a lot thicker. So like it was really adding a lot. As far as like my lashes go, I've had my lashes tinted and I've had them lifted before. I would do both again. A lot of the time I do just tint my lashes at home just because it's easy. I can get it done in like 10 minutes. I've never had any sort of lash extensions. I've always been curious. I'd never be able to really review a mascara properly, so, you know, that's kind of a big part of my job, so I just kind of avoid that really. But I don't know, maybe one day for like a holiday or something, I might do it, but only like little like natural ones, just as if I've got like a few little infills or something. And then quickly in regards to like at-home treatments like LED masks, skin tightening, like those I forget what they're called, the electric things that like tighten your skin. I use those. I don't use the skin tighteners as much. I do want to try using them again though, because yeah, maybe it will help with this bit here. I'm always afraid I'll get jowls. Like a lot of the women in my family get jowls, and I'm like, that's like one of the things I don't want. That's one of the, like, I don't care too much about wrinkles, but please don't let me go jowly. I will literally be walking around like this. I don't care. Okay, I could honestly talk about all of the filler that I've had done for hours, so I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible. Let's go through a list, shall we? I'm going to work from the bottom. I've had chin filler for years. I started that when I was... we'll start with my lips. The first thing I ever got done was, like most people, my lips. I got that done when I was about 20. And I think I got about 0.5 mil. And then there were some years where, you know, I had a little bit more. And I look at a few older pictures of me where I think I had a bit more filler here. And I've never had any filler dissolved in my lips. I've always been quite happy with it. So, you know, I've had like 10 years of lip filler, or over 10 years, and I'm pretty happy with it. But I always had a really thin top lip, and I wanted my lips just to be bigger because it was the whole era of like the Kylie Jenner thing. So I started with that and I was pretty happy with it. However, I remember going back into Martin and I was like, there's something about my face, you know, even back then, I was like, I just don't like something here. And he had a look, and this was before like it was common. Like I'd never heard of this at all. But he was like, you have a small chin and jaw. Like my chin, like even here, it would, I'm trying to show you whilst also looking myself, this bit went in loads, and then my chin actually, it's funny, I can literally find where the bone starts. My chin would actually have started like back here maybe. So my chin like properly went back like that. Probably out of everything I've had done here, that was the best thing I've ever done, because I hated my chin. If someone said, you can only keep one thing of like, or keep getting filler in one area, where's it going to be? I've got a chin, 100,000 million% chin, because it balanced out my face. I'll try and insert a picture, it's nuts. This is when we start getting to like the before and afters, because you'll really start to see all the faces that I've had. Yeah, the chin was mental, the difference that it made. And so I've always kept up on that. Like I said, I had it done recently. I actually had a lot of filler in like my chin and jaw dissolve recently, which I'll talk about in a sec. But yeah, it's still even a little bit swollen. Normally, like I can't feel where the filler starts, but I can tell it's a bit swollen. I only had it done less than a week ago. So it will soften even more. But yeah, I had a little more chin filler, and I will most likely continue to keep doing that. I've had filler in my nose. That's a recent thing that I had done as well. I get it done every so often. I don't really care about this. I have like a little bump on my nose. Doesn't bother me that much. I actually like how my nose looks from the front, but I just never used to like a bump. So again, usually it's one of those things that when I've had a little bit of filler left over, I've gone, can we put it in my nose a little bit to get rid of that bump? So essentially, like you can see my nose is quite straight now. He put filler here, and then I wanted a tiny little bit here as well, just to give it, not like a proper flick like you can sometimes see on Instagram, but the tiniest little tip, just so it goes up ever so slightly. I just like how it looks. Okay, so what else we had? It's like head, shoulders, knees and toes. All of this lips. I've had filler like dotted throughout here, not anything like major, like just dotted around here. Also, as I've gotten older, I've lost weight, and so I can look a little bit more hollow around here. So we have filled in bits like that. That's most recently I had my nose done. I had, again, this is nuts when I say it all out loud. So over the past few months, let's talk about this. I had this bit of filler dissolved because I went to someone else and they were good. However, so bit of context, this was basically when I was with not Ollie, the boyfriend after Ollie, who was horrible, and he basically made me feel a certain way about going to Martin, who was a man. Yeah. So I went to someone else and they were good. They were like highly qualified and everything. But I think, don't know what the reasoning was, that they didn't do anything wrong as such, but I feel like maybe they did put, I wanted a little bit of filler here, which I hadn't done before, because like sometimes like my face can like go in a little bit here, and I wanted it to just be a little bit more streamlined. I went and got some filler there, and I do feel like it was either a bit too much, or maybe the filler was a bit too thick or something. I don't know, but either way, I liked it. And then I think as I started to lose a little bit more weight, I noticed it a lot more, and I could not stop looking at it in my videos. So then I ended up getting that dissolved. That was maybe like 2 months or so ago. Got that dissolved, and that was when I got a little bit in my cheeks and a little bit in my lips. So that dissolved there. And then a week or so ago, I went and got my jaw dissolved. I can show you some before and after that. Nuts. I think, again, because I'd had it built up over the years, because I was like 10 kg heavier than what I am now, and I like being this weight, I'm healthy this way, I'm maintaining it. I looked at it, I was like, it's too much. I can see it now. Whereas before, obviously, when I'm heavier, I could probably get away with carrying a bit more weight and filler on my face, and it would sort of like, you know, sculpt me out a little bit, I guess. But yeah, when I'm a bit more of a scrawny rat like I am now, I wanted the smaller jaw. So don't even want to know how much filler I dissolved in terms of like money, but dissolved all of that. And I'm sure there's a tiny bit left, but I used to be able to grab my filler. I can barely grab anything now. It's mostly just like skin. And honestly, I love it. I think it's one of the best things, again, I've done for my face. Weird statement. I've had temple filler. I had that done because I lost a lot of weight and I looked a little bit more gaunt here. I don't think I would do that again. I don't feel like, unless I really, really noticed it, I don't think I've ever, like, I don't think I need it. Under eye filler. Yeah, so I've had under eye filler. Typically, I think this is supposed to last every like 2 or 3 years. And I actually went into Martin 6 months ago after, you know, stressful year, and I was like, I look exhausted. And I was like, do I need more under eye filler? I was like, I feel like I need it. And he was, again, like, no, go away, silly woman, you do not. You're just tired. This creeps me out because, again, despite wearing contacts, and not needing anything, any prescription or anything, I choose to do this. I actually really hate eyes. I'm literally looking at my list. Is there anything left? This isn't filler, but people kept saying, even when I put on weight, everyone was like, your buccal fat removal looks awful. I've never had that. I am just getting older. I'm not an old woman, but I think in the world of the internet where everyone's like 16, I am twice their age. I am 2 16-year-olds. But I guess like this bit, I don't know, like maybe it's because when I had jaw filler as well, it kind of made a bit more of a hollow here. I don't know what to tell you. I've never had that done. Yeah, when people get that done, if you don't know what it is, you basically get like an incision in the inside of your mouth, and then literal fat pads are removed from the inside of your mouth, and you'll see a bunch of celebrities doing it, and the whole Ozempic thing, which is nuts because you're all going to get old and skinny and wrinkly anyway. But it like, I can't talk when I do it. It sucks you in like this. I think I'm very intrigued by all of this, and I have been since I was really young. I remember this, showing my age here, like it was all about Katie Price, which I mean it still is, like, but when she was having these massive boobs, like stunning woman, huge boobs, and I was like, you gotta remember, I live in Cornwall. I used to live in like a tiny little town. I now live in a tiny little village. People don't get these sort of things done regularly around me. No one in my family has any Botox or filler, and no one ever has. No one's had any boob jobs. No one's ever had anything like that. And it's always fascinated me. And then someone like Pete Burns, for example, which yes, of course, is like an extreme look. But I remember watching Celebrity Big Brother once when Pete Burns was on it. And I remember there's that little thing. I can vividly remember watching this, and I was in my little kitchen, and my mum was at a little tiny breakfast bar, watching it on the little TV in the kitchen, because she always used to love just watching TV in the kitchen, even though we did have a lounge. We were watching Celebrity Big Brother, and they were talking about how he had like oil like wrongfully like pumped into his lips, and that's why, and then they were leaking and stuff. And I was like, I was intrigued, not in a way of like, I want that, but I was like, whoa, people do that. Like, yeah, and he looks different. He looks interesting. And even just like, I think the whole thing with my contacts is I remember seeing Naomi Campbell wearing contacts. And, you know, even like Marilyn Manson, when he had like one eye color, like, you know, brown, and then the other eye color was like icy blue. And I remember being like, oh, you could do that. And like, you know, here I am getting stuff pumped into my lips and putting contacts in. And I've always been fascinated by it. But yeah, full tangent there. But I was always intrigued by just people like that and just changing their body and their faces. And hey, now I'm one of them. What's else on the list? What else is on the list? Permanent makeup. Okay. I had microblading done maybe just before lockdown. I don't know why. I've never struggled with my eyebrows. I think maybe I had like a few gaps and I was just too lazy to wait for them to grow. I regret doing that in reality. It's fine. It's not like the end of the world, but I do think that was a stupid thing that I did. I don't think microblading is stupid. I think you can get insane results, but I don't have issues with my eyebrows. The issue with my eyebrows is that they grow too fast and they are too big and too dark. So I had that done. The person was great. They did it really, really well. But yeah, I don't know why I did that. And so then I ended up getting it removed. There's probably a tiny little bit left in here still. And when I go back to Claire, who's done my lip blush, which is what I'll talk about in a second, she's now got a new machine where she is like lasering off any excess like ink and stuff. And yeah, lip blush. So I've always had really pigmented lips anyway. People used to make fun of me at school when I was younger because I would come in after it being cold in the winter and my lips would be bright red. And they would say that it looks like I've been wearing lipstick. Oh, you're wearing your mum's red lipstick. Now, I never wanted it for any reason other than the fact that, I mean, maybe I can get a picture of it. I have a scar here on my lip. And I hate it. I don't like it. And so I wanted to see if I could basically cover it up with a little bit of lip blush tattooing. But the problem is with that, you have to kind of really do it all over your lip because otherwise you might end up with a slightly, you know, different color patch in your lip. So I did that and I really liked it. It's weird when you get it done. It's so intense. I'll insert some before and afters. But yeah, that was really good at covering up my scar. However, it's not permanent and my scar has now come through again. And I spoke to Claire and she said, we might need to do something that's a bit more pigmented to cover up the scar. And I'm like, I don't really want it to look like I'm wearing lipstick. I trust her, she's fantastic. But that is something that I may do again. I've done it. It's faded a lot, but like it's still there a little bit. But I just do it to get rid of the scar. So yeah, you might see me do that again. If you see me popping up randomly with like bright pink lips, naturally, it will settle down, okay? But I'm just trying to cover up my scar. It's annoying. So teeth. Ta-da! I've been talking a lot and my lips are a little bit crusty. Oh, can you see a tiny little bit of my scar there? Tiny bit. Yeah, teeth. I've had people before say to me that my veneers are awful. Thank you. However, I've actually not had veneers. These are all my teeth. And I'm not even going to sit here and be like one of those people where I'm like, these are all my teeth. But actually I've had, you know, composite bonding over all of them. I haven't even had that. So I've always had really big teeth. My mum always had really big teeth. Like these, if you imagine these teeth on a tiny little child with the big eyebrows, like these were a lot and they were wonky and they were like this. And I used to be able to fit like a £2 coin or like a pound coin in between my teeth because I had such a gap. I hated them. They were one of my biggest insecurities and I was on the NHS wait list for like 4 years. And then I eventually got braces, like normal train track braces, when I was, I think literally like a few weeks before I was 18. And so I think I had them on for 2 or 3 years. I went to uni with them, which was really fun being the slightly older person at uni, but also having braces. However, I feel like my bite just wasn't quite right. Like, I mean, I don't know what my teeth are like now. They're sort of like, they're not completely straight down, but they're a lot more sort of like vertical. Whereas back then, even though my teeth were straight, it was like they kind of still stuck out quite a bit. And so I was way happy with them. But then I feel like they were still like, they were a bit uneven. Obviously they'd just been straightened. They haven't ever had anything done to them. And so I still didn't love them. I was happy, yeah, didn't love them. So years later, this was before lockdown. I know that because then I ended up having to wear my Invisalign for longer because obviously everything closed during lockdown. But went up to Martin's clinic in Cheshire because there's a dentist there that he recommended. So yeah, went there and basically what I had was Invisalign. So I think I was only supposed to have Invisalign for, it wasn't very long. It's maybe like 4 months or something, but obviously that got extended because of lockdown. But I had Invisalign for, you know, not too long, and that just sort of straightened my teeth out a little bit more, just refined them, corrected my bite, brought my teeth in a bit more like this. Did some whitening. As for whitening, I think this is basically the same thing they used as well at the dentist. I use Philips Zoom whitening gel. You can get it online. It's not cheap, but I think by the time, like, with how much you use it, it doesn't work out that expensive. And it's basically like a gel that you kind of like put into a tray, and then you wear it for maybe like half an hour or, you know, an hour or so. And it really works. It is dentist recommended, and it works so well. So yeah, had whitening, and then once my Invisalign was done, I'll try and insert pictures along the way because I do know I have them somewhere. But then we filed down some of my teeth and just sort of like made them even, and just, yeah, took some of the edges off. And then there was a few teeth that, because obviously they were wonky, they maybe just needed filling in. So people say, like, when someone was like, your veneers are awful, I literally haven't had veneers. The most like invasive teeth work I've had done is on this tooth. I think it was one of these front ones. I think it was this one. I had like a milk spot or like a calcium spot or something, and I always had it. And so basically when I got a little bit of bonding on, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 teeth. It wasn't many at all. I think I had a little bit of bonding on the corners of one of these, and then on one of these, and then I think I had bonding, maybe it was on, I don't know, it was somewhere else, but it was only like a little corner. But this is the one that I had sort of covered a little bit more because I just didn't like that sort of white spot on my teeth, and I could notice it all the time. Otherwise, these are just my teeth. They're just straightened and big and whitened, and they've just been filed down to look even. Like, so thank you if you think I've had bad veneers. However, unfortunately, these are just my teeth. They've just been slightly tweaked. Like, you can even see, and I actually do want to get, I'm going to talk to my, I'm not too fussed by it, but again, it's just something that my silly brain notices. Like here, these are all straight. This one, this tooth is like a little bit further down. But yeah, they're just my teeth. So, body treatments. Let's go through a little list here. M-Sculpt. I've tried M-Sculpt. If you don't know what it is, it's basically this, like, you go to, I went to Signature Aesthetics. I would do this again, by the way, especially now I'm a bit more skinny and you'd probably be able to notice it a bit more. But you basically get these like pads kind of like velcroed onto you, and they tighten your muscles, and it does make a difference, and it is nuts. But I think because I did have a bit more weight on me, I did notice a difference. But I think now that my stomach's quite flat and I've been going to the gym, I hate myself, I think I would notice it a bit more. So I would be intrigued by that. People have then asked me about my weight loss, because I do think, especially when I'm like filming like this, it's pretty obvious I have lost quite a lot of weight. Like I said, I've lost about 10 kg. Like, this is like my base weight now. Like, I've been this weight for a really long time. I am very healthy, by the way. Like, I'm probably the healthiest I have literally ever been in my life. But yeah, I've had some people who've like sent me messages about how they're like worrying about me. I promise there is nothing to worry about. You know, I don't need to prove myself or anything, but people assumed for a while, I assumed because I was obviously quiet online and because I wasn't really posting much, and then all of a sudden I came on and I'd lost loads of weight, people were assuming that I was on Ozempic. I am not, and I would recommend that you guys don't go on it, because I'll be honest, I've known of like probably 2 people out of 20 people that I've known that have taken it. 2 of them have had the exact results that they've wanted with no side effects. Everyone else I know has either had horrendous side effects and they've stopped taking it, or they've had horrendous side effects and they kept taking it, and they maybe have the body that they want now, but also they're incredibly unwell. Truly is not worth it. I even thought about it at one point when I was basically not in my right frame of mind, because I was like, oh, you know, I just want to lose weight, just want to be skinnier again. And in reality, it's because I was drinking too much, eating too much, I was miserable, I wasn't exercising, and I was there like, oh, just please, just like, can I just inject something that just makes me skinny? And that was my frame of mind. I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, but no, I haven't. But yeah, I cut out the majority of my intolerances, and when I do have them, I maybe have like just a tiny bit. Like, I went out for my dad's birthday the other day and I had like a huge pizza, because I'm also apparently intolerant to yeast, but apparently not celiac. So like, yeah, like I'm not good with yeast and pasta, but apparently I'm not actually celiac or like gluten intolerant. I don't know. Oh, another thing I was going to mention is people at one point, I don't think now, because, you know, I've lost a lot of it, but when there was a bunch of pictures or like stories and stuff where I posted and I had like a slightly lower cut top, and people were like, have you had a boob job? Like, come on, spill the tea. Like, where did they come from? And I'm like, I don't get, like, I guess all the like food that I was eating, but I have not had a boob job. I've not had anything done to my boobs like that. And especially now I've lost weight, I sort of look at them and go, I would like if they were just up a little bit more, maybe a bit fuller at the top. Like, they're fine. They're still, I'll say it, they're still pretty good. But from losing weight, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot most of my boobs were just because that's just where my fat goes. Where have they gone? I see, it truly scares me a bit. Like, while we're talking about things that I would have done, I would have a boob job and a boob lift, specifically a boob lift, and then just maybe a little bit of extra. You know, I don't want big boobs. If my boobs could stay exactly as they are now, but maybe they would just, I don't know, screw it, who cares? So maybe they're here, right? If I could have them here, because I've only got a short torso as well, so I feel like I need as much real estate as I can get. If I could put them up here and just maybe have the tiniest bit of fullness there, like, they're a handful, basically. That's literally, I don't want anything big. If I could do that, cool. But surgery actually scares me. Like, I've never really had surgery. The only thing I've ever had is a scar here, because I basically had like a cancer scare when I was younger. It was like a skin cancer thing. And I had to have a mole, like a weird like mole removed. You can see the scar. It's like this weird square scar. But surgery has always scared me. I've never had anything done that I've like elected to do. And this is what I want to talk about with the whole body dysmorphia thing, where yes, I have done many things and it's excessive, but I've stopped myself when it comes to things like PDO threads. And I haven't gone to Turkey, even though I've been offered so many times to go and get a free full set of teeth and basically a holiday included. It's nuts. I haven't done that because kind of permanent, kind of risky. Obviously, filler and Botox and all these things carry some sort of risk. But I know that if I turned around, like with my nose, for example, I obviously want to get rid of that bump. If I went and got a nose job, I would go, and hopefully if I liked it, I'd be like, oh, I feel so much better about that. And that's permanent. Now what else can I find? Because this is the thing that people don't talk about enough, is like, I corrected my lips, or corrected them. And then I went, I still don't like it. And then when I did my chin, I then was like, oh, I want a bit more on my jaw. And then I feel like I need to balance it out with my cheeks. And then, oh, while we're here, I may as well put a little bit in my nose because I'm a bit insecure about that. Do you know, it can snowball so easily. But I know there's probably 2 surgeries that I will get at some point. I've always thought maybe when I'm around 40 or 50, I will probably get some sort of boob lift. And then maybe when I'm around 50-ish, I will probably get a mini facelift. And I'm not talking like schluck back, but like I said, I also know that jowls run in my family and I hate the idea of it. And even now, I'm not going to obviously get anything done now, but I would love it if my jaw was a bit more tightened here. Do you know what I mean? Because also I've always had that weird idea with my silly face, but I will probably get something that brings everything up here and maybe a little bit here. You can get like those little like ponytail facials, so not like a full one. You're not going to basically cut my face off and put it up higher. But yeah, I know I will probably do that. So yeah, for surgery, that is something I will probably do, and I'm okay with admitting that on the internet. So yeah, it's really stupid. Like, I'm there like, oh, I think I might just do this. I might just get a mini facelift at some point. I might just carry on stabbing my face with toxins and filler for the rest of my life. But I'm just being honest. I think it's the ADHD. I can't not be. I can't turn around and someone goes, oh, wow, like, you know, like I was saying, you've got the most perfect nose. I go, thanks. I mean, I did have a little bit of filler in it, but thank you, because I just can't almost like take credit for people. I almost don't want people to be like, oh, I wish my nose was as perfect as yours. I'm like, babe, mine isn't as perfect as mine is. I bought this, thanks, but like, yeah, my nose isn't this perfect either. When people say these things to me, I never want someone to feel insecure when they look at me. The reason why I do all of this is because it's my insecurity, whether that's come from me or whether it's come from other people telling me to be insecure, or whether it's me basically choosing to be insecure because I've compared myself to someone who is also a highly unrealistic person to compare myself to. So it's kind of the same thing where I'm like, if you're 17 years old and you got slightly crooked teeth and maybe you got a bump in your nose and I don't know, maybe you're a bit flat chested and you look at me and you go, oh, like, I wish I looked like Steph. I'm getting emotional now. I don't look like me. And I do not want anyone at any point to sit there and think, I feel like shit because I don't look like Steph. Like, oh, that's so unfair. Like I said, I don't look like this either. And I've paid a lot of money and I've done a lot of things to myself and it's questionable. I guess the moral to this very long story, I'm so sorry. It's okay to get things done. Do what you want to do and don't do it because other people say you should have done it. If you want to do something, do it right. Go to the right people. Be safe and be smart. It's okay if you want to do these things. However, if And I say this because I am this person. If you try and chase perfection, I hate to break it to you, you will never achieve it, because it doesn't exist. They might fix a slight little insecurity, but then you might find another one, because it's how your brain's wired. It's not because there's anything actually wrong with your face. It's because, yeah, your brain's just wired in a certain little way that's telling you that you need to keep getting better and finding the next thing, because also social media tells you this, and then there's people like me that also probably perpetuate it as well. And that's why I wanted to do this big old ramble at the end. If you're still listening, and just say, you don't need any of this, I don't need any of this. It is a mental thing, but I have accepted that I will never be totally happy unless I change my brain with how I look. I feel like I've ended this video after like talking about all these things and doing like little funny anecdotes here and there, and I've just gone, but just remember, you might do all of these things and you still might be ugly. I'm not saying that. You're not ugly. You never were, and neither was I. But you also might just, you know, love having a little bit of lip filler. That's okay too. It's okay to be a little bit superficial. At the end of the day, I'm not some sort of like science, political channel. We're talking about superficial shit. And that's okay. Superficial shit is good. Just be safe, and just know that if you've ever wanted to look like me, you too can look like me if you do these 87 things. I'm going to leave it here. If I feel like so funny going into a little bit of like an ad segment now, the Sleep and Glow Omnia pillow is dope. If you guys want to check it out, like I said, all the links will be down below for it. It's really, really good. Like, I think if you can invest in anything, if you can invest in anything, on Bitcoin and stuff, obviously, although I'm not a financial advisor, evidently, but things like your sleep and your diet and stuff like that, do that first, and then if you still want to do some of the other things, just go to a good person. But yeah, all links for everything and all the people that I mentioned will be down below.